It's a great pleasure to present the paper me and my colleague Professor Jung In-Suk have done in front of you today. And the research title is Exploration of the Differences in Emotions according to Gender and Family Economic Level and Emotional Factors Influencing Life Satisfaction and Depression of College Students. We belong to Namseol University. As you may know well, life satisfaction is an important factor in a healthy life. Particularly in the context of Korea, satisfaction of college students with their lives after completing severe entrance examination is important for healthy college life, academic achievement, and successful career development. The constructor of satisfaction with life represents the cognitive development and component of subjective well-being. Pabot and Diener defines life satisfaction as a judgment process in which an individual evaluates their quality of life based on their own criteria. Hence, evaluation of life satisfaction is based on a cognitive appraisal of the overall quality of the person's life based on self-selected standards. Studies report that the demographic variables, for example, gender, socioeconomic status, etc., appear to play a very modest role in relation to life satisfaction in adolescents. However, studies that have found gender differences generally report that the boys score higher on life satisfaction than girls. Life satisfaction is considered to be a central construct in relation to other emotional, social, and behavioral constructs. Among the factors influencing life satisfaction, there are self-concept, self-esteem, and depression. The relationship between self-esteem and depression have been extensively studied in health research over the past decade. Depressed college students feel low self-worth and negatively evaluate themselves, which damage their self-esteem. Low socioeconomic status have been found to be associated with a higher prevalence of depression. There is a moderate effect of socioeconomic status, including income and education level, on life satisfaction. As you can see, the picture in the slide, the number of depressed students, college students in their 20s is increasing very rapidly. According to the disease statistics of the Health Insurance Review and Assessment Service, the number of depressed student patients in their 20s, which means they are mostly college students, right, who visited medical institutions in 2018 was 98,434, nearly double the number in 2012. The rate of increase by generation was also much higher than other generations at 86.5% in their 20s. According to Du Bois, Tabandile, 1999, self-esteem is a psychological vaccine that can protect against all kinds of developmental problems. Indeed, many studies on self-esteem have shown that it significantly affects life satisfaction and mental health. The self-concept is an individual's view of oneself and self-esteem for this self-concept is called self-esteem. In other words, self-esteem is an individual judgment of how valuable I am. One of the self-concepts is a sense of self-identity in which one realizes who they are, and it has been reported that those whose self-identity is not established have a high score for depression. Based on the literature review we mentioned in the introduction part, we set up several research questions like below. To understand difference between positive and negative emotions according to gender and family economic level of a college student. Secondly, to identify factors influencing the depression and life satisfaction of college students. To answer the research question, the Korea Child and Youth Panel Survey data, which is called KCYPS, were used for this study, which is by the Korea Youth Policy Institute. We chose 7th year panel data because which is including the college student in 2016, who used to be the first year middle school student in 2010. In total, 1,220 student data were used and analyzed. T-test, ANOVA, multiple regression analysis were implemented for this research. In this research, in total, 8 variables were assessed. 4 variables are categorized into positive emotions, and the other 4 variables are categorized in negative emotions. In positive emotions, the first, self-esteem, has 10 items, ego resilience, 14 items, self-identity, 8 items, life satisfaction, 3 items. In negative emotions, first, attention deficit, 7 items, aggression, 6, depression, 9, social withdrawal, 5. All scales consisted of 4-point Likert scale, not at all, 1, no, 2, yes, 3, and very much, 4. The reverse items were reversely coded, so the higher the sum of the items, the higher the variables. From now on, let me present the results of the study. First of all, I would like to say about the demographic characteristic of the participants of the study. The demographic characteristic of the survey subject are shown in table. 575 were male and 645 were female students. Looking at the family economic level, as reported by the college students themselves, 233 were for good living, 781 for average, and 206 not good enough. Secondly, I'd like to say about the descriptive statistics of the variables. The mean of positive emotions, the 2.83, were higher than that of negative emotion, 1.96. In positive emotions, self-esteem of 2.95 was highest, followed by the life satisfaction 2.85, ego resilience of 2.84, and self-identity 2.67. In negative emotions, social depression 2.20 was the highest, followed by the attention deficit 2.05, depression 1.81, and aggression 1.78. Thirdly, difference of positive, negative factors by gender. As a result of analyzing the differences in emotional factors according to the gender of a college student, statistically significant differences were found in all emotional variables, except for attention deficit. In this study, male students showed higher positivity than female students in all 4 factors of positive emotions, and all male students showed low negativity in all 3 negative emotions except attention deficit. Let me explain the difference of positive, negative factors by family economic level. Analyzing the difference in emotional factors according to the level of family economy, statistically significant differences were found in all 7 variables except for social withdrawal. The student group who reported that their family economic level was high showed the highest positivity in all of the positive emotions and the lowest score in the 4 negative emotions. It can be seen that the level of family economy influences the emotional factors of college students. Life satisfaction has a statistically significant positive correlations with all 3 positive emotions, and among them it shows the highest relationship with the self-esteem. On the other hand, life satisfaction has a statistically significant negative relationship with all 4 negative factors, among which depression shows the highest negative relationship. Depression has the lowest negative relationship with the self-esteem and the highest static relationship with aggression. Let me explain the factors affecting depression by multiple regression analysis. First, the level of explanation of self-esteem, aggression, life satisfaction, and social withdrawal was 63.2%, and the regression model was statistically significant. In order to grasp the relative influence, the standardization coefficient was found to be aggression 0.334, life satisfaction minus 0.277, self-esteem minus 0.252, and social withdrawal 0.207. It can be seen that the higher the level of aggression and social withdrawal and lower degree of self-esteem and life satisfaction, the more influence on depression. Tolerance and the VIP statistics were checked to identify multicollinearity problems. As a result, the tolerance value were less than 1.0 and the VIP value was less than 10. the Darwin-Watson value was 1.897, which was close to 2, so that it did not have the problem of multicollinearity. I continue reporting the research result, the 7th factors affecting life satisfaction by multiple regression analysis. First of all, the level of explanation of self-esteem, depression, and self-resilience was 46.5%, and this regression model were statistically significant. In order to grasp the relative influence, the standardization coefficient were found to be depression minus 0.338, self-esteem 0.302, self-resilience 0.174. It can be seen the higher level of self-esteem and self-resilience and lower level of degree of depression, the more influence on life satisfaction. Tolerance and VIF statistics were checked to identify the problem of multicollinearity. As a result, the tolerance value was less than 1.0, the VIF value was less than 10, Darwin-Watson value was closer to, so that it did not have the problem of multicollinearity. Conclusion. The life satisfaction of college students was negatively related to depression, and depression was closely related to aggression. In order to increase life satisfaction, depression should be reduced. At this time, as a program to reduce repression, self-esteem or self-resilience can be increased. Rosenberg defined self-esteem as an individual's set of thoughts and feelings about their own worth and importance. This definition reflects the notion of global or general self-esteem or self-worth. Self-esteem is a large part of college student self-understanding and is likely to be a fluctuating and dynamic construct, susceptible to internal and external influences during early adulthood. According to the Pavert and Diener, both self-esteem and life satisfaction indicates one's global evaluation. As in the previous studies, when this study found out the self-esteem is the factor that most affects life satisfaction of university students, in the future, universities will be able to develop and proceed with the programs to increase student self-esteem. In order to increase the life satisfaction and to decrease depression, it will be necessary to develop an intervention program that increases self-esteem. In other words, college students have to positively evaluate themselves to have high life satisfaction and low depression. The purpose of this study was to identify the factors affecting life satisfaction and depression of Korean college students, and to analyze the differences between gender and family economic level in positive and negative emotions. This study analyzed the data of the 7th year of the Korean Child and Youth Panel Survey and conducted by the Korea Youth Policy Research Institute. of 2,351 students, and finally 1,220 subjects were selected. SPSS 23 version program were used for research analysis, t-test, and over multiple regression analysis were performed. The student who reported that male student had higher positivity than female student, and who reported that they had a higher family economic background, had higher positive emotions and lower negative emotions. Aggression had the greatest influence on depression, and the higher satisfaction of life and self-esteem, the lower the depression. In terms of life satisfaction, self-esteem and self-resilience were identified as positive factors and depression as a negative factors. In other words, in order to increase the life satisfaction of college students, an intervention program to increase self-esteem and lower depression will be needed. Thank you very much for your listening. We are in Namso University. Professor Jung In-Suk, the Department of China. There is email address here, so you can contact me and Professor Jung In-Suk anytime by email. Thank you very much.